Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to our tutorial on how to use Quran Anki. We will start off by going to the first link in the description, apps.ankiweb.net, and downloading the software. You will either download Anki for Mac or Anki for Windows. After downloading, go ahead and run the software. So now we have our profile open. The next thing we want to do is create an account. So we're going to go to the second link, which is just ankiweb.net, and sign up. I'll be using a temporary email address. And now we need to verify our email. This step is very important. Great. So now we will proceed. And now we have pretty much an online version of what we would see on the desktop and phone version. So in order to align them with each other, we're going to go ahead and hit sync. And you're going to log in with that same email that you used and the password you made for the account. Now this is important in order for you to be able to sync whatever is on your desktop with whatever is on your phone. So now go ahead and download the Quran deck from the Google Drive link in the description. And I will go ahead and open it here. And you will hit close. So now let's go ahead and modify the settings. So we're going to hit options. And then we're going to change this to 9999 and maximum reviews also to 9999. This just removes the limit. You will likely not be doing anywhere near this number of new cards or review cards per day. We will change the easy interval to 1, and we will change insertion order to random. We will change the maximum interval to 120, and that just means that the maximum amount of time that you can go between seeing a card and seeing it again would be 4 months. So in theory, you could do a khatam every 4 months. Now you can feel free to use your judgment to either increase or decrease this, but this is kind of the number I find to be the most useful. We're going to change the new interval to 0.1. Go ahead and hit save. Alright, and now the next thing to do is to go into Browse. Now as you can see here, this may be a little overwhelming, but there are different ways that these cards can be divided into. All we care about is decks and tags. So we'll go ahead and hit the Quran deck, and we'll hit Command A on Mac or Control A on Windows. Go ahead and right click and hit toggle suspend, and this will suspend all the cards. So if we go back here, we'll have 0. Now as you can see here in the text section, the pages are all divided into different ways of categorizing them. So it could be either juz, it could be mutashabihat per surah, or it could be just surah. And sometimes a card would fall into multiple tags. So for example, if we have a mutashabiha that's in both Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Ali Imran, we would see that they have tags for both Surah Baqarah and Surah Ali Imran. So this is a great example. أولئك ما يأكلون في بطونهم إلا النار ولا يكلمهم الله. And then it tests you on يوم القيامة ولا يزكيهم. And then there's a similar verse in Ali Imran. أولئك لا خلاق لهم في الآخرة ولا يكلمهم الله. And then it tests you on ولا ينظر إليهم يوم القيامة ولا يزكيهم. So it might look a little strange here because of the Arabic English formatting, but I'll just give you an idea of what this looks like. And that looks much better. So over here, it shows you the part of the ayah that you should know. And then here is where the mutashabihat are. So if we show the answer, and there you go. Now this has been set up in a way that's very, very easy and very intuitive to use. So feel free to explore this part of the browse section, but for the purposes of this video, we're assuming that whoever is using this deck is memorizing in order, starting with page number 1. So we'll start from Juz 1, and we have page 1. We see Surah Al-Fatiha. So there are two types of cards. The first one is what's called a basic card, front and back. So when it pops up as a question, all you see is the page number. Now your responsibility is to know what that page is, what it starts with. So in our case, in our example, it would be Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, and then recite the entire page without making any mistakes. And there's our answer. The second type of card is what's called a closed deletion. This card will show you the opposite. So as you can see, we're given the page, and we have to determine what page number this is. So in this example, we know that it's page number 1. So for each page you go through, you'll go ahead and select all and unsuspend. And my strong advice would be to not do more than 1 page per day using this system. Why? Because you can start to confuse the numbers with different pages. Even if your hifz is strong, I would suggest that you go 1 at a time. And the cool thing is, everything is packaged together into these page tags. So for example, if we go to page number 3, we'll notice that we have our basic card and our closed deletion card, which we just went over, but we also have our mutashabihat card. So we have a mutashabiha between a verse in page 3 and page 11, and we also have a mutashabiha in pages 3 and 26. Now you'll notice that this same card is found under tags for page 3 and page 11. So if you get to page 3 and you memorize the page and you decide that, oh, well, I'm not too familiar with this second verse, so this card might be a little irrelevant for me right now, you don't have to unsuspend it. You can keep it suspended, and then when you get to page 11, you can go ahead and unsuspend it. And there are many other examples. So, for example, on page 4, you have a mutashabiha between 4 and 26. And if we go to page 26 in Juz 2, you'll find that same mutashabiha. And so this is really the easiest way to use this. Day by day, you'll go ahead and unsuspend the cards for those days. So for our example, we'll go ahead and do 3 days. And let's go ahead and study. So our first card is a closed deletion card. We see the page starts with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. We know that this is Surah Al-Baqarah, probably the second page. So we got that correct. Now in Anki, you're only going to be using 2 options. Good and again. This is very important. We're going to ignore hard, we're going to ignore easy. Because if you keep hitting easy, the intervals will increase too much and you'll start to forget. So again, is if you make any mistake, even if it's 1 mistake, you'll go ahead and hit again, because the goal here is perfection. If you make 0 mistakes, you'll hit good. Our second card is asking us what page number 1 is. So the answer would be Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, ila akhirah, till the very end. We'll recite the entire page. Now if I recite the page without any mistakes, I'll go ahead and hit good. Now the formatting here is a little strange, but this blank is supposed to follow this verse, but because we're combining both English and Arabic, the software isn't perfect at combining both of them. But the answer does a great job. So for example here, أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى, and the answer would be فما ربحت تجارتهم وما كانوا مهتدين. And then page 26, أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى, and the answer would be والعذاب بالمغفرة فما أصبرهم على النار. We'll go ahead and see the answer. And we got that correct. So we'll go ahead and hit good. This is a closed deletion. The answer is 1. We'll hit good. Now it's asking us to recite page 3. So we know that this is the third page of the Mus'haf, which starts with إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. And we will recite the entire page till the very end without making any mistakes. Now let's say I made a mistake. I'll go ahead and hit again. Over here, we know the answer is 3. We just did it. We'll hit good. And by the way, you can use the space bar as a substitute for good. So I'll go ahead and hit the space bar. Now you should have a good idea of how to use this. And now let's go ahead and sync and move over to the phone. And now we have the Anki app open on mobile device. We will go ahead and hit synchronize and log into the same user ID and password that we used on the computer. And now go ahead and hit OK. And now it's downloading everything from the cloud. This might take a minute or two. If you notice here on the bottom right, that pretty much means that media is being downloaded. And so now, everything we've done on the computer will sync with the mobile device. Now let's go ahead and browse. We'll hit the magnifying glass on the top right. And we will hit the icon with 3 dashes on the top right. And we will search for our page number. So for example, let's do page number 5. Now the user interface is not as intuitive and easy to use as the laptop, but nevertheless it could still be used. So here we have tag Quran Juz 1, page number 5, which is the third option. And we have all the cards associated with that page. We will go ahead and hit the check mark on the top right to select the cards. We can select them individually or select all. We will hit actions and toggle suspend. And now we can go back and we have our new cards that we can view. And I make it a habit to always hit synchronize, just so that there are no discrepancies between the mobile phone and the laptop. And that is how to use Quran on Anki. If you run into any bugs with the cards, go ahead and leave an anonymous comment via the Google form in the description.